What about ye? It is Sunday, the 7th of July, 2024, which means it is now time for... And this week's recipient is very deserving, and he hasn't been the first time he's been the deserving recipient. It is, of course, Ian Paisley Jr. Right, but more about that later on, right? Because we had a big election. There was a big election, and it's all over. That's it for 5 years now regarding Westminster. Labour, of course, won a historic majority. With all these Tory pricks, all the big, they're all consigned to the dustbin of history, where they should have always remained. Not that much has changed regarding Westminster, not giving one shite about here, and proving the fact, when you had Keir Starmer, the new Prime Minister, coming out in his first ever speech and boasting that Labour had fought all four nations and won in all four nations.
It is a clear mandate. We argued for change. We've got that mandate. We've got it in for all four nations, and that is really important for us as well.
Somebody's going to have a wee chat with Keir and explain to him about the 100-year history here and that Labour don't actually stand here. But I'm sure somebody, maybe in about 4 years' time, will tell him what's going on. Anyway, the appointment of Hilary Benn as our new Secretary of State, that will hopefully be a good thing, especially if he's half the man his late father was, Tony Benn. Great man, great man, great man. So here are all our local winners. Now, most parties held their own, with the UUP retaining their one MP with a swap from Stephen Farry to Robin Swan. Alliance had a good night with Sorcha Eastwood, while she took the Lagan Valley seat, once a unionist stronghold and previously held by none other than ex-DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson, who is presently in a different sort of fate altogether. Sinn Féin had all their 7 MPs returned, with the parachuting of nursing boss Pat Cullen into Fermanagh in South Tyrone proving to be a great success. Now, an interesting side detail, if you let me hear, is that the Shinners are reluctant to tell us how much they're paying their MPs. Now, as some of their MPs continue to have other jobs. Now, surely if they're taking their roles in Westminster seriously, even though they actually don't even bother going, then all their time should be devoted solely to that. But I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash. You know what I mean. Surely. The decision of the UUP to try to parachute somebody in the election from the outside in the shape of Colonel Tim Collins, well, that proved satisfactorily disastrous. Gaff-prone Collins had been uber confident that he'd win the seat in Southdown. But would you believe it? The Dick was the first person on the night to have to concede defeat, given this humble appraisal of why he had not won.
What has gone wrong? I've no idea. People in North Down, I think they don't want somebody that doesn't live in Northern Ireland. They want a homegrown boy. They're interested in local politics. They're not interested in cutting VAT. They're not interested in international affairs. They're interested in potholes and hedges.
What an arrogant shite. The people of North Down aren't interested in VAT or international affairs. They're only interested in potholes and cutting hedges. Or maybe, Timothy, the truth is the constituents weren't interested in a pompous prick such as yourself. But Tim had more to get off his chest.
During the campaign, you talked about your Rolls Royce in England. They completely misunderstand. It's Northern Ireland. They don't understand these things. The point I was making is an expensive car is cheaper to insure in England than it is here. People are more able to, out of whatever sort of hubris that exists here in Northern Ireland, they leap on that, as opposed to saying, hang on, we're being taken for a ride.
It's Northern Ireland. They don't understand these things. What a completely tone-deaf tool. Tell you what, Tim, it appears people here were able to smell you out within a couple of weeks and decided, you know what, we're all full up of wankers here. We've got a multitude of political wankers. We do not need another wanker parachuted in from somewhere else to add to our woes. So, Timothy, you can sod off back home and shine up your Rolls Royce, son. For you failed. Do you hear me? You failed. You were defeated. No, you were humiliated. So while I doubt you're capable of any honest introspection, a moment of humility may be in order. Some chance. As for Doug Beattie, what he was thinking, taking that dick over here, that needs to be sorted out too. I know you're all in the army and all that there, and it's all the chaps together, but ways up. Now, DUP leader, Big Teeth Gavin Robinson, he managed to see off a challenge from Alliance leader Naomi Long. But the party as a whole took a kicking. Oh, the DUP took a kicking, with their share of the vote cut to the bone. This left party heavyweights such as Sammy Wilson and Gregory Campbell sweating it out, biting the nails themselves to see if they get over the line on the night. Oh, that was bad, but worse was to come. The story of this election, the story of the year, was the shock result in North Antrim, or what has always been known as Paisley land. Rumours abounded that Baby Doc was in trouble. But how could this be? After all, don't the plebs know that Daddy had gifted to Baby Doc the constituency? And like all such spoilt brats born with a silver spoon in their mouth, never having worked a day in their lives, Ian Jr. exuded that sense of entitlement, which led him to a multitude of scandals, one being the paid holidays in Sri Lanka, which seen him barred from the Commons and resulted in him breaking down in tears, trying to apologise.
Personal statement, Mr. Ian Paisley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you for allowing me to make this personal statement at this time. And I take opportunity to do so again from my place here, and I do it, sir, without qualification. I say sorry and apologise for the feelings and that were identified in the Standards Committee report.
Could it have been that the constituents of North Antrim had finally got so pissed off with Baby Doc that they decided they'd vote for anybody? Anybody! Even Jim Allister! Oh, it was a moment of history as the result was announced, with many viewers unnerved by the sight of a smiling Jim Allister. That put me off completely. I found that very spooky myself. I have never seen Jim Allister smiling before in my life. It was very off-putting. Ian wasn't smiling, and for good reason.
I declare that Jim Allister is returned to serve in Parliament for the North Antrim constituency.
There is no escaping the fact that there has been a political earthquake in North Antrim of seismic proportions. Today, we mark an occasion when, after 54 years of DUP and Ian Paisley dynasty, North Antrim has taken an alternative course.
Watch this wee bit now. Watch this wee bit now as Ian frantically searches his pocket for this speech he had never thought he'd ever have to make.
I declare that Jim Allister is returned to serve in Parliament for the North Antrim constituency.
Mr. Returning Officer, I thank you and your staff for the diligent conduct.
Such was the seismic shock of this result that even Channel 4 News got confused. They put up the wrong clip when they were talking about the result.
Including, and this was the shock of the night that nobody saw coming, Ian Paisley Jr. losing his North Antrim seat. Between him and his father, the Reverend Ian Paisley, it's been in the Paisley family for more than half a century, but no more. Perhaps a sign of dissatisfaction among some unionists here with the shape of things in Northern Ireland. Post-Brexit, that seat now belongs to the
Like, I know Paisley's a wee bit, but Paisley and Putin, that's that. No, you can't compare them two. They can't compare them two. No, Putin's successful. So, there you have it. As with all dynasties, the Paisley one has finally bit the dust, and good riddance says an awful lot of people. And as always, I took no part in proceedings, choosing not to use my ballot. I even put this warning up on my door to keep converses away. But I was far from alone in staying away from the ballot box, as the turnout for this election was only 57.47%. That makes it the lowest in the history of Westminster elections here. There is something wrong, people. You can't blame me. It's not just me. There's something wrong. Now, I'd love to be optimistic about our political future. I'd love to think that our new MPs and a massive Labour majority will bring real change. But I doubt it. I doubt it. The only bit of joy I take from this election is knowing that Ian Paisley Jr., for the first time in his life, will have to pay for his own family holidays. And even better, with Jim Allister now sitting on the green benches, the Speaker of the House of Commons is in for one hell of a shack.
Mr. Speaker! Mr. Speaker! It's always Jim over here, Mr. Speaker. I will have my say, Mr. Speaker. You will not stop me speaking on behalf of the people of Ulster and the people of Northern Ireland who have been sold down the river by a border in the Irish, Mr. Speaker. Why are they pulling me out? You can't pull me out. You'll do nothing. You hear me? You'll do nothing.